It's 2025, and heart disease still holds the top spot as the leading cause of death, claiming over 941,000 lives in the US in 2022 alone. But here's the twist you might not hear often. 5 vegetables that research shows can lower key cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure, harmful cholesterol, and inflammation, helping reduce plaque-building processes and long-term heart attack risk. We're giving them hilarious superhero names so you'll remember exactly who's guarding your heart. By the end, you'll know these veggies, the science behind them, and a few simple swaps you can use this week. And while new gadgets keep getting smarter, the real question is why our arteries still are. Why 2025 still has a heart problem. In 2025, cardiovascular disease is still the leading cause of death in the United States, responsible for over 941,000 lives lost in 2022 alone. Even with breakthroughs in medical devices, new cholesterol-lowering drugs, and personalized fitness programs, the reality is clear. Prevention remains the most powerful defense. One of the simplest and most controllable prevention strategies is diet. In fact, the American Heart Association's Life's Essential 8 framework ranks diet as a central, modifiable factor for heart health. The challenge is that average diet quality scores remain low, which means most people aren't consistently eating in ways that protect their arteries over time. Decades of evidence show that certain patterns, like the DASH diet and plant-forward or Mediterranean-style eating, are strongly linked to lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol levels, reduced inflammation, and better long-term cardiovascular outcomes. The reason diet is so important comes down to the way heart disease develops. Over the years, fats, cholesterol, calcium, and other substances can collect along the inner walls of blood vessels, forming plaque in a process called atherosclerosis. As that plaque grows and hardens, it narrows the vessels and makes them less flexible, limiting blood flow. High blood pressure, elevated LDL cholesterol, chronic inflammation, and oxidative stress all speed this process along. Even before symptoms surface, the damage is already underway. While medications can slow plaque progression or manage its risk factors, no treatment can simply erase it. That's why the habits that shape your internal environment matter so much. Research shows that certain plant foods can reduce inflammation inside vessel walls, improve blood lipid profiles, and support the release of nitric oxide, a compound that helps arteries relax and maintain healthy blood flow. Others provide fiber that limits cholesterol absorption from the foods you eat, keeping circulating LDL levels lower. These mechanisms aren't guesswork. They've been repeatedly measured in clinical and population studies. Despite this, 2025 lifestyles often work against those benefits. Long work hours, sedentary routines, and reliance on ultra-processed convenience foods make it easy to default to meals that deliver quick energy but little nutrient value. That imbalance means more people develop the early changes that set the stage for heart disease, even at younger ages. The hopeful part is that protective foods are not rare or expensive. They're in ordinary produce sections and farmers' markets. These vegetables align with what proven dietary patterns recommend and bring extra cardiovascular advantages that have been documented in recent research. They fit within everyday meals without needing complicated recipes or specialized products. And among them, a few stand out for their ability to support vascular health in multiple ways at once. The next step is to look more closely at one group in particular, and why it consistently earns top marks from scientists studying diet and heart health. The League of Leafy Legends. If vegetables had their own superhero roster, the first recruits would be the League of Leafy Legends, a trio of spinach, kale, and collard greens. They trade capes for crisp leaves, but their record for supporting cardiovascular health is backed by decades of research. Each one brings something slightly different to the team. Spinach is subtle and adaptable, kale is boldly nutrient-dense, and collard greens are the seasoned veteran, long celebrated in traditional cuisines for their staying power. One of their most studied benefits comes from natural dietary nitrate, stored in their leaves. The body converts this nitrate into nitric oxide, a signaling molecule that helps relax and widen blood vessels, improving blood flow and lowering blood pressure. That in turn reduces the strain on artery walls, an important factor in long-term heart health. Leafy greens rank among the highest sources of vitamin K1, which supports calcium regulation, helping direct it into bones rather than allowing deposits in artery walls. Reducing calcification in arteries helps them remain flexible and responsive instead of becoming stiff over time. They also provide vitamin C, an antioxidant that helps protect the delicate vessel lining from damage caused by oxidative stress. By limiting that damage, vitamin C can reduce the ease with which cholesterol and other substances attach to artery walls and begin plaque formation. Their dietary fiber adds another layer of support. Fiber binds some cholesterol in the digestive tract before it enters the bloodstream, lowering levels of LDL cholesterol and limiting one of the key raw materials for plaque buildup. This isn't an instant cleanup process, but regular intake steadily shifts cholesterol levels in a safer direction. Recent studies from 2024 and 2025 highlight how even modest weekly servings of leafy greens are linked with better arterial flexibility and lower levels of C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation tied to heart disease risk. These links remain even after adjusting for exercise, body weight, and medication use. One reason could be the steady boost in nitric oxide production, something that tends to decline naturally with age. Their phytonutrients, including flavonoids and carotenoids, also appear to influence inflammatory pathways in ways that make arteries less susceptible to harmful changes. These effects develop gradually and are most noticeable when leafy greens are part of a consistent dietary pattern over months and years. Collard greens, while less trendy than kale, match it in vitamin K and sometimes exceed it in calcium. Their sturdier leaves hold up to longer cooking times without losing all their nutritional value, offering an option for those who prefer softer textures. Kale delivers dense nutrition in a relatively small portion, and spinach's mild flavor blends easily into smoothies, soups, or egg dishes without taking over the taste. Having variety improves the chances these foods become a lasting habit rather than a short-term experiment. For older adults, convenience helps maintain that habit. Keeping pre-washed fresh leaves in the refrigerator or storing bags of frozen spinach or kale means quick access without the pressure to use them within days. Frozen forms retain most of their nutrients and can be added directly to pans or pots, a practical approach supported by healthy aging guidance. One important note, leafy greens are high in vitamin K, which affects blood clotting. For anyone taking blood-thinning medications such as warfarin, it's essential to check with a healthcare provider before making large, sudden increases in vitamin K intake. Consistency, rather than avoidance, is often the goal, but personal medical advice is critical. Cooking methods also influence nutrient retention. Light steaming or quick sautéing preserves vitamin C, while cooking with a small amount of oil can enhance absorption of fat-soluble nutrients like vitamin K and certain carotenoids. Mixing leafy greens with other vegetables rich in complementary antioxidants has been shown to further reduce inflammation markers, suggesting they may work best as part of a varied plant-based plate. Framing them as the League of Leafy Legends makes sense, not because they operate alone, but because together they handle fundamental jobs for vascular health, lowering blood pressure, improving vessel flexibility, reducing cholesterol absorption, and providing antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Their greatest strength lies in regular, repeated maintenance over time. You won't feel a sudden change from a single salad, but consistent intake can help preserve open, resilient arteries well into later years. Quietly and steadily, this team keeps your cardiovascular system in better working order. And once they've done their share, the next guardian in the lineup brings a different kind of protection, one focused on watching for trouble before it takes hold. Broccoli, the green bodyguard. Broccoli earns its spot in the lineup as the green bodyguard, a steady and reliable presence in the vegetable world with a quiet talent for protecting your cardiovascular health. Its most recognized advantage comes from sulforaphane, a naturally occurring compound in cruciferous vegetables. In your body, sulforaphane supports antioxidant and anti-inflammatory pathways linked with better arterial function, which over time can help maintain healthier blood vessel performance. Oxidative stress and low-grade inflammation in the vessel lining are two slow-moving contributors to arterial damage. Instead of instantly wiping out free radicals, broccoli's compounds work in a more supportive way, helping your own cells maintain the protective systems that limit damage from unstable molecules. By reducing the triggers that keep inflammation active inside artery walls, broccoli helps lower the chances of rough, sticky patches forming where cholesterol and fats can accumulate. One of the measurable outcomes from higher cruciferous vegetable intake, reported in several recent studies, is better arterial elasticity. Healthy arteries can expand and contract to handle different blood flow demands, but chronic inflammation and plaque gradually stiffen them. Diets rich in broccoli have been linked to blood vessels that stay more responsive, which in turn helps regulate blood pressure and supports good circulation. That's not just theoretical. Analyses from 2025 found people eating more cruciferous vegetables showed lower levels of arterial calcification, a physical change associated with rigidity in blood vessels. Broccoli isn't a single compound story. Alongside sulforaphane, it contains vitamin C, important for forming collagen in the vessel walls and supporting their structure, and vitamin K, which plays a role in directing calcium into bone instead of into artery walls where it could harden them. It also offers dietary fiber, which helps limit the absorption of LDL cholesterol by binding some of it in the digestive tract, so more leaves the body instead of entering the bloodstream. While population studies suggest a clear relationship between regular broccoli consumption and markers of healthier arteries, the exact impact can vary from person to person. One area of active research involves the gut microbiome. Certain bacteria appear to further process broccoli's compounds into forms your body can use efficiently. This means some individuals may experience more noticeable benefits than others, depending in part on the makeup of their gut bacteria. Scientists are still mapping exactly how this works, but it underscores why food choices can play out differently across people. For those who don't enjoy broccoli raw, and for many, that's most of the time, there are ways to prepare it that keep the protective compounds intact while improving its texture. Light steaming is a strong option, as it softens the vegetable without excessive nutrient loss. Long boiling, on the other hand, tends to leach vitamin C into the water and can reduce the activity of the enzymes that help form sulforaphane. If you chop broccoli and let it sit for a few minutes before cooking, you give those enzymes time to start the reaction that produces sulforaphane, helping preserve its potential even after gentle heating. Cooking methods can also make broccoli more approachable for older adults who may have concerns with chewing or digestion. Lightly steamed broccoli or small florets added to mixed dishes tend to be easier to manage and are still a good source of its key nutrients. Frozen broccoli is a practical standby, retaining most nutrients when processed soon after harvest and offering a way to keep it on hand without the pressure of a short shelf life. Combining broccoli with other healthy foods can strengthen its role in supporting your heart. A small amount of olive oil helps your body absorb its fat-soluble vitamins, and the brightness of a squeeze of lemon complements flavor, while adding more vitamin C. Placing it in soups, stir-fries, or pasta means you're getting the benefit without forcing down a plain plate of steamed florets. A shift in approach that can make the difference between occasional and consistent intake. What broccoli offers is a gradual, steady contribution to cardiovascular defense. It doesn't provide an instant cure or a one-time fix. Instead, its strength lies in showing up on the plate regularly over months and years. By addressing oxidative stress, managing inflammation, and helping arteries stay more flexible, its effect accumulates quietly in the background. Think of it less as delivering dramatic interventions and more as keeping the system in balance, so problems are less likely to develop in the first place. This steadiness also means you don't need to eat it in large amounts every day to see benefits. Several servings a week can still provide a meaningful contribution to the overall nutrient pattern linked with better arterial health. That's a realistic target for most people, especially when you rotate it with other vegetables for variety. It also fits with how traditional dietary patterns work. No single food drives the outcome on its own, but together they form a mix that supports long-term wellness. Broccoli's place in the vegetable heroes list is secure, not because it stands out for dramatic flair, but because its evidence base is consistent, and its nutrients cover several of the processes that drive plaque formation and vascular aging. For a food that's affordable, available almost everywhere, and compatible with so many cooking styles, it earns its role as a dependable ally for your arteries. And if this green bodyguard is the vigilant protector, the next member of our lineup takes a very different approach, working more by charm and influence than by watchfulness, yet still managing to keep things inside your arteries running smoothly. Avocado, the smooth operator. Avocado takes on its cardiovascular role with quiet confidence, delivering a completely different set of benefits from the other vegetables in the lineup. Known here as the smooth operator, it's less about dramatic interventions and more about making subtle, lasting improvements in how fats and cholesterol move through your bloodstream. Its headline feature is its rich content of monounsaturated fats. These are the heart-healthy fats consistently linked in research to improved cholesterol profiles, often lowering LDL cholesterol and sometimes increasing HDL cholesterol in the process. The price tag in 2025 still makes some shoppers hesitate, but for those able to include it, avocado offers returns beyond its taste and texture. Studies from groups such as Harvard and the Mayo Clinic have found that diets regularly including monounsaturated fat sources like avocado tend to support better ratios of HDL to LDL cholesterol. HDL shuttles excess cholesterol toward the liver for processing, while LDL has a greater tendency to leave cholesterol in artery walls, where it contributes to plaque buildup. Improving the balance between the two helps reduce one of the key risks for arteries gradually narrowing over time. A simple way to picture this is to imagine your bloodstream as a busy street. LDL particles are like slow-moving vehicles that clog up intersections and create bottlenecks, while HDL particles act as the cleanup crew, clearing the lanes. Regular avocado intake appears to help put more of the cleanup crew on the road, while reducing the troublemakers that create the congestion. The shift isn't just about quantities, but about particle quality. Monounsaturated fats can encourage LDL particles to be larger and less dense, making them less likely to lodge in artery walls. Avocados also contribute plant sterols, which reduce cholesterol absorption in the gut by competing with dietary cholesterol for absorption sites. Soluble fiber in avocado adds a second line of defense, binding to some of the cholesterol in the digestive tract, so it leaves the body instead of entering circulation. Given its nutrient profile, avocado can do more than help with cholesterol. It provides potassium at levels comparable to a banana, which supports healthy blood pressure by counteracting sodium's role in fluid retention. Lower blood pressure directly reduces the mechanical strain on artery walls, complementing the cholesterol benefits. The creamy texture makes avocado an easy substitute for less healthy fats in recipes. Spreading mashed avocado on bread in place of butter, adding slices to sandwiches, or blending it into sauces delivers satisfying richness while swapping saturated fats for monounsaturated ones. Research also shows that pairing avocado with colorful vegetables can significantly improve the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients such as carotenoids, found in tomatoes, carrots, and leafy greens. This makes avocado not just beneficial on its own, but a nutrient booster for whatever plant foods it's served alongside. For older adults and anyone looking to use avocado strategically, a moderate portion is key. A practical target is around half an avocado a few times per week, enough to gain the advantages without introducing excessive calories. This level fits comfortably into a balanced diet and supports heart health over time, especially when paired with other nutrient-dense foods. Getting the timing right for ripeness makes it easier to rely on avocado regularly without waste. Buying them at different stages means they won't all soften at once. Ripe avocados can be stored in the refrigerator to slow further ripening, giving you more flexibility. For convenience, pre-sliced or mashed avocado can be frozen in small portions, ready to add to smoothies or spreads later. If cost is a barrier, there's an easy workaround that preserves many of the same heart-friendly benefits of monounsaturated fats. A small drizzle of extra virgin olive oil over vegetables or salads. Olive oil offers similar improvements in lipid profiles and can enhance absorption of fat-soluble antioxidants in much the same way as avocado. Avocado's role in a heart-healthy diet is additive rather than exclusive. It helps fine-tune the balance of circulating fats, supports nutrient absorption from other plant foods, and contributes to blood pressure control. Its effects build slowly, the result of steady inclusion rather than occasional splurges. Regularly replacing less healthy fats with avocado's healthier monounsaturated fats is one way to trim cardiovascular risk without feeling like you're sacrificing enjoyment at the table. And while avocado handles its job with quiet efficiency, the next heart-protective food in our series brings a very different toolset, one that doesn't blend into the background, but instead stands out in color and chemistry, offering its own distinct form of vascular protection. Tomatoes, the red shield. Tomatoes take on the role of the red shield, vivid in color and carrying a well-documented advantage for cardiovascular health. Their standout compound is lycopene, a carotenoid concentrated in tomatoes and more bioavailable after cooking. Research links higher lycopene levels to lower oxidative modification of LDL cholesterol, a process that can make LDL more likely to adhere to artery walls and contribute to plaque formation. By reducing one pathway toward this buildup, lycopene becomes a meaningful ally in long-term vascular maintenance. In simplest terms, oxidized LDL is a more aggressive form of bad cholesterol. Once altered by oxidation, it's easier for it to settle into artery walls, drawing in inflammatory cells and starting the slow layering of plaque. Lycopene supports the body's antioxidant defense network, helping limit this oxidative change. It doesn't stop all oxidation or prevent disease on its own, but as part of a diet that also manages cholesterol levels and inflammation, it helps lower the total exposure of blood vessel walls to this particular risk factor. Studies from 2024 and 2025 have shown that people with higher circulating lycopene levels often display lower measures of oxidized LDL, and in some cases, better arterial flexibility. These associations show up in different age groups and dietary patterns, which is why lycopene-containing foods feature prominently in heart-healthy eating frameworks. While it's not a single solution, the data supports including tomatoes regularly for those aiming to reduce oxidative stress in their cardiovascular system. Tomatoes also contribute modest amounts of vitamin C, beta-carotene, and potassium. Vitamin C provides additional antioxidant support, potassium helps regulate blood pressure, and beta-carotene functions alongside lycopene as part of a broader antioxidant mix. This combination adds depth to tomatoes' protective profile, though lycopene remains the nutrient most consistently linked with changes in LDL oxidation risk. One unusual advantage for tomatoes is that cooking them can make their key nutrient more usable. Heat breaks down plant cell walls, releasing lycopene so it's easier for the digestive system to absorb. This means that tomato sauces, soups, and stews may deliver more lycopene to the bloodstream than raw slices in a salad. To increase uptake, pairing cooked tomato products with a source of healthy fat, such as a little olive oil or avocado, can help your body absorb and retain more of the pigment. For practical use, this opens a variety of straightforward options. A basic sauce from canned crushed tomatoes simmered with garlic and herbs offers a concentrated lycopene source, especially when finished with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Tomato paste, a thickened extract of cooked tomatoes, is particularly rich. Just a spoonful stirred into soups or casseroles can meaningfully boost lycopene intake without dominating the flavor profile. Since routine use matters more than timing, incorporating tomatoes in several forms across the week is effective. Fresh tomato salads in warmer months, roasted tomatoes paired with vegetables, or tomato-based stews and curries in colder weather all contribute to steady lycopene exposure. Because lycopene is fat-soluble and stored in body tissues, these small, repeated servings help maintain its levels over time. It's important, however, to be mindful of sodium when using canned or processed tomato products. Many commercially available sauces, soups, and pastes come with significant added salt. Choosing low-sodium or no-salt-added canned tomatoes reduces this issue, and homemade sauces made with minimal added salt better align with heart-healthy patterns such as the DASH diet. This approach keeps the benefits of lycopene while avoiding a dietary factor, excess sodium, that can raise blood pressure and offset vascular gains. Fresh tomatoes still have a place, even with slightly lower lycopene availability compared to cooked versions. They add hydration, support overall produce variety, and bring in other phytonutrients that may have additional, softer cardiovascular effects. Varieties like cherry or grape tomatoes are particularly dense in lycopene for their size, making them a convenient way to increase intake as a snack or quick addition to meals. For those sensitive to the acidity or texture of raw tomatoes, roasting or slow cooking can mellow both qualities. These methods also preserve or enhance lycopene availability and create a softer texture for easier chewing, which can be helpful for older adults who find tougher skins less appealing. Once prepared, cooked tomato mixtures can be cooled and stored for later in the week, simplifying the habit of regular inclusion. It's also worth remembering that not every tomato-flavored product carries the same value. Ketchup contains some lycopene, but comes with added sugars and often high sodium, making it less suitable for regular use in a cardiovascular-focused diet. Similarly, heavily processed ready-made pasta sauces may contain added fats or flavorings that aren't supportive of artery health. Checking labels or preparing your own versions allows you to control these added ingredients.